Hi, my name is Adam Fletcher, and in this, the second installment of my series regarding re-envisioning the roles of young people throughout society, I'm going to talk about one of the main challenges to that purpose. Today we're going to talk about adult-centrism. Adult-centrism is thinking and acting from adult perspectives without considering the perspectives of children and youth. Adult-centrism is present in the design and delivery of the services, institutions, programs, activities, and the very nature of our society. It's apparent in schools, homes, nonprofit organizations, government, businesses, and it takes all kinds of different forms. Adult-centrism is kind of a tricky idea to variate from a couple of other concepts that I'll explore later on, including adultism. Adultism is the favoring of adult perspectives at the expense of those of young people. The difference between adultism and adult-centrism is that adult-centrism is it's the actualization of adultism. It's what the form the world ends up taking because of adultism. Where adultism is discrimination against youth, adult-centrism is purely the bias, the egotism of adults. So adult-centrism is really something that adults solely perpetuate and forward, where adultism can actually be perpetuated and forwarded by young people and adults themselves. I'll explore that in another video blog. But adult-centrism, another concept, another thing that it's different from is adultocracy. Again, another concept that I'll explore later on, but for the sake of comparison, adult-centrism, again, the egotism of adults, is different from adultocracy, which is an actualization of adult-centrism. Adultocracy is adults ruling the world and considering that no young person actually has a role in governance or otherwise management of any part of our society. The third term that I'll differentiate between from adult-centrism is ephobophobia. Ephobophobia is the fear of young people that a lot of adults have, and I'm afraid that ephobophobia is almost completely different from adult-centrism. Adult-centrism as the egotism of adults, that egotistical belief that the world revolves around us, might be perpetuated by ephobophobia. But by and large, I'd say that the two concepts are different. So if we were going to draw a continuum, on the far left would be adultism as the core bias or discrimination against young people by adults, as expressed in the sole favoring of the opinions, ideas, actions, and perspectives of adults. Next on the continuum would be adult-centrism, where the world revolves around adults and adults think solely of adults' outcomes, benefits, perspectives, attitudes, ideas, and actions. And then on the far right is adultocracy, which is the manifestation of adult-centrism throughout society. So what are some of the ways that adult-centrism comes to life? What are some of the ways that we can see it actually happen? I'd suggest that it's in at least 4 main areas, if not more: physical design, social purpose, cultural norms, and economic outcomes. The physical design of our society is based on adult-centrism in the sense that the height, purpose, and usage of a lot of our physical plants, including school buildings, homes, cars, restaurants, these types of institutions throughout restaurants, businesses of all sorts, stores, government agencies, these types of institutions throughout our society are built on the idea that adults are the primary users and primary benefactors of these facilities. In situations where young people are the primary users and benefactors and adults are considering young people's perspectives while building them, we frequently see the exaggeration of childlike scenarios, childlike purpose and design, in order to kind of prove a point, in the sense that the height of an object in a playground is super low, or the activities in a playground for children to do are super simple. It's, again, that's the actualization of adultism inside of adult-centric design. Kind of confusing. Let's talk about restaurants. I have a 6-year-old daughter, and we eat out maybe once a week. It's a pretty heavy eating out diet. I'm a single dad. It's a hard life, let me tell you. But we go to these restaurants, and the tables are at a certain height, and the chairs are way above the ground, and they don't fit my daughter at all. And as far as I can tell, the restaurant's gesturing towards children actually being there is creating a child's menu and giving them a cup of crayons. Come on. I mean, as exciting as that can be for a 6-year-old, it has limited purpose and yeah. So what does it say to a 6-year-old when the table's at the wrong height and the food doesn't taste right and nothing is made for her or him? I'm afraid that it sends the wrong message. We'll get into that in a minute. Let's talk about social design and how social design, the purpose, belonging, membership, and outcomes of our society are really adult-centric. The purpose of many of our social institutions, including schools, families, nonprofit organizations, are determined solely by adults. Even again, when they're intended for young people to use, adults are designing the purpose, they're designing the way that activities happen, and they're designing the outcomes that they seek to achieve through these social purposes. But they're not considering young people's perspectives, ideas, opinions, attitudes, thoughts, and actions while they're actually doing that design. And if they are, they're considering it through an adult lens rather than through the views and perspectives of young people themselves. The next area that I want to address is cultural norms. The different ways that we interact in our society is commonly agreed on. These include the identity of a culture, the continuity of that culture, and sustainability of culture over long range. These are all adult-centric in most, if not all, cases, because culture, by and large, is perpetuated by adults. The advertising that perpetuates American culture is, even when focused on kids, is ultimately designed for the purpose of meeting adults' needs. Finally, I want to talk about the economic outcomes of adult-centrism. The limited purpose in our economic engine that young people occupy is limiting the scope and capability of young people to actually create change throughout our world. By seeing them simply as the consumers of adult services, goods, products, we are effectively limiting the economic capacity of young people. By limiting that capacity, we're also sending a message, which we do through all these different norms. And that's really what we need to get to, is what that message is. Adult-centrism, I'm concerned that adult-centrism ultimately tells young people that they aren't valued, that they do not have purpose or belonging beyond that which adults think they should have. That's why we're dealing with the phenomenon of perpetual youth and all of these other kinds of negative media-hyped perspectives. Join me next time as I explore other concepts that are relevant to re-envisioning the roles of young people throughout society. Today's was focused on the challenge of adult-centrism. Tomorrow, who knows, we might be focused on the actions that young people and adults can take together to create social change. Thanks for joining me. Remember to check out my website at bicyclingfish.com. Have a good day.